Hi everyone, it's Killshot 99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead live fan reactions, week number 4. Oh boy, do we have a lot to unpack. Yes, we are going to give it scores. This is the show where I usually talk about the show. We pick it apart. We have lately. Some people say, hey, you're the only one that dogs out the show and everybody else loves it. I'm not going to kill it tonight. I think, it had moments. But it did have some typical Fear the Walking Dead things that we just got to get used to, I guess, at this point. So before we get too far into tonight's reactions, unpacking, where we start, where we leave it, they added more story to it tonight. I mean, we're still trying to figure out some of the last stuff they did, and they're just giving us more pieces week after week after week. So, two-car crash. Let's, first of all, shout out to the patrons. Thanks for everything that you guys do. You can see them up on the screen. Love to have all you guys together talking about the Walking Dead universe. So we are going to break it down. More story, a little bit of speech. So let me start out. And, I'm not giving it a 10, but I'm interested to see where you guys stand on it. Some people are saying best... 45 minutes, I was struggling, Jeremy. I was really struggling for 45 minutes. And then, shocker, Fear does something interesting at the end of it to sort of get us back in and then gives us a carrot for the following week. So I'm not going to reward that tonight. I rewarded it last week. So give me a number from 1 to 10. I'm going to give it a 6 because I'm just... You have to give us something tangible, and I'll tell you why. I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, how many times has Fear told a story and that story came true right in front of your eyes? It insulted me as a viewer for John to sit there for 10 minutes and tell the story of his father to the rabbi, and lo and behold, John gets caught up in the exact same situation as his father. His father planted the purse and then became a hero, and nobody trusted him, and then John stands there, gets a badge of honor so he can get June back. It's the same thing. So, I just want something from Fear the Walking Dead to let us think and not give us the information and then finish the story. In one episode, we got the earring, we solved the earring. We got the story from John, they solved the story from John. We even got the story from Virginia about how she was at that other place and she had to watch that person and they played the music and how she remembers the look on the girl's face. Lo and behold, Virginia does the exact same shit. So 3 times tonight, they told us and did it. And you got... I don't know. That's my initial reaction to it. As a fan, as a viewer, I just want it to be a little bit of work. Don't just spoon feed it to me week after week after week. The sub guys are dead. So we've gotten, man. So, and next week we get some masked people. So am I the only one? Help me out. I just don't know what the hell's going on. Just help me figure it out. Maybe there's a grand scheme and I'm just missing the boat here. But I had a bounty hunter a couple weeks ago that died in the same episode. I got these sub guys who are going around painting the end of the world, and you think they're going to be something, and now they're dead. And then next week, we get a bunch of masked people, and we don't know what's going on with them. So I'm going to ask you guys, is there a story? Is there something that is going to add some longevity? Or are they just rolling the dice until something lands? I can't give it above a 6 tonight. And that's where I'm at for the season. I'm at a 6 for the season. 6 and some change. I Dimes, what? Give me the psychological twist. Because I'm watching a different show. I think I don't see a psychological twist. I see I see Jenny as dark and manipulative. I no, there's no pure evil here. She chained a person up and let a walker eat them. I mean, is she more vile than she was a couple weeks ago? Yes. With every kill, she's going to become villainesque, I guess. But pure evil, dark, I can't. I mean, it's just not there. There's nothing about Jenny that keeps me up at night thinking, oh my God, she's just. So let me answer that. And again, I promise I won't make this a kills dimes will battle because I know where they stand on this. But I'm going to shut some of it down. So dimes creating mentally inferior weak characters and having a average villain take advantage of them does not scream out pure evil and dark. If you can do that to Rick Grimes, for example, like what Negan did to Rick was dark. What Simon did to Jadis was dark. Strand and John selling themselves out and becoming Rangers for 246 days, and then all of a sudden a light bulb comes on and you want to move away. I just want to ask, I'm sorry, what happened to John's balls? Because this guy just basically puts on the badge every day, goes in. It's like, I don't know. It's like the coyote and the sheepdog, where they go and sit down and look over the cliff. His name was Ralph or something. And at the end of the day, this reminded me of that episode of Looney Tunes. And then the next day, he leaves, and the next guy sits down. And then a day later, the next guy comes up, sits down on the cliff, and then he sits down. That's basically what they were doing. They were just kind of rotating. Exactly. Movie star. Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for blessing my stream with somebody that asked this question. What is keeping our group from just taking over? What is it with the rabbi? What is it with Strand? Why does John have to fight Strand? Why can John just not sit in front of Jenny and just shoot her? Just shoot her. You got a gun. So, I get it with The Walking Dead. You had intelligent characters that did that. With Fear, these guys are just, they're holding on to a small thread. And what is the audience? We get a reunion like the end of every episode. Next week, it'll be Morgan and Grace. It's like, we got to get all the lovers back together. Now, I'm hoping for like a Vanilla Sky moment here. And maybe it's lost on me. Or maybe, I don't know. Was there some deep, sinister, psychological twist to him pulling out his tooth? I'm trying. I mean, maybe I'm not saying there's not. He had a cavity. It was bothering him. June shows up, and he pulls his tooth out. Love is pain. Oh, we're searching here. Okay, and this is a time I have to profess my love for all things Walking Dead. Well, the pain didn't make him stronger because he didn't do nothing. All right. So in segments, we can find good parts and bad parts of the show, right? And they Fear the Walking Dead, I feel like, has sort of mastered this with the audience. At this point, all right, I'm going to ask it like this. And please don't take this the wrong way. Is Fear screwing with us? I mean, are they intentionally giving us 45 minutes of filler? A year ago we said it sounded funny. And then this year it sounded funny. And now it's just to a point where, I kid you not, I feel like I could turn on the last 15 minutes. And I'd be the biggest Fear the Walking Dead fan in the world. Say, man, the last 15 minutes is so good. I'll give it an 8. So, Army, I'm reaching out to all of you right now. We're 4 episodes in. And Morgan is the only one that seems to get it. Now, yes, maybe they're bringing the crew together, getting the team back. But if Morgan would not have killed both those guys, if they would have taken Morgan down, I would have thrown my remote at the TV set. That was a bare minimum. Morgan had to prevail there. I mean, he put him in the sleeper hold. He was taking him down. You know how they do in wrestling, where they lift your arm up and then it falls down, and they lift it up and it falls down, and they lift it up the third time, and you start shaking your hand like, no, I'm still in it. I'm not out yet. So that's what I felt like with Morgan. He put him in the chokehold, and just right when you think Morgan's going out, it's like, nope, Morgan's back. So of course I like that. And I like Morgan, doing the axe thing, because that was cool too. I would have loved to have something equivalent to that, like for the whole 45 minutes before that. And this is why I said we take it in segments. So, absolutely, you're not wrong about that. I did say this year would be the reunion, and then they have to have calls. And we saw some of that tonight. Look, I never said Jenny wouldn't kill anybody. I do think she's manipulative, and I do think she punishes people and sneaky. And I don't deny that she's a villain. She might even be the best villain we've ever had on Fear the Walking Dead. But the bar is really low. And to date, She's eaten more jelly sandwiches than she has kills. And that's never a good sign, Will. When you have a villain who's feasted on more jelly than they have killed people, doesn't scream out pure evil. What is it about Jenny and eating that is supposed to make us fear her? Because it ain't working. All right. So let me ask this question. Here, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. We're gonna do a barometer. Crystal said, I can't get into Jenny's character, but I do like jelly. All right, fair enough. Okay, so here's kind of like my litmus test. If all of you were in the sanctuary, and humor me with this, I don't want some of the women to say, hey, Negan is hot. Take the hotness out of there. I'm talking about mean, evil Negan that would throw your ass in a furnace. So, if you were in the sanctuary and Negan was walking around with that bat, and it was like, all right, you would be creeped out, right? You just would. If Simon stormed into Alexandria and said he wants half your stuff, and then kind of smirks and gives you like that sarcastic, like, yeah, it's not going to work. Simon was like the guy from The Office, except a real evil version of the guy. You know, the guy says, I'm going to need you to work this weekend and Monday, but Simon would kill you if you didn't work over the weekend. Kind of like that. So that's what the bar is for The Walking Dead. Now, I feel pretty comfortable that if Simon or Negan or Alpha would ask you to do something, you would probably do it. Now, let's turn that around. If you lived in this city, Lawton, under Jenny, if she asked you to do something, wouldn't you just kind of give her that look like, what? What did you just say? I mean, there just is no intimidation factor. And half the Rangers look like you could beat the crap out of half the Rangers. So I'm pretty sure if you really wanted to get away, you wouldn't be stuck in a place for 246 days. What's even worse is we started with a John story and we ended with a John story. And it was, hey, life here just ain't that bad. It's kind of good being a cop. Being a ranger. You do normal stuff. It's kind of like being a cop all over again. Get my badge. Get to walk around. Yeah. Yeah, it was just like ho-hum. Okay, 246 days. He's happy. He's okay with life. And he even said at one point, it's worth the cost. At the beginning of this episode, it was worth the cost. And in one swift action, it's not. So Jenny hasn't killed a single person in 246 days. But all of a sudden, two people want to leave, and here we go. So certainly, let me kind of take a step back and say, will Jenny kill more people, or do I think she'll kill more people? She better. Because there's two forces working simultaneously. There's the Jenny evil meter, and there's the Morgus badass meter. Now, Morgan's already where we need him to be. Jenny's creeping up. But do me a favor here. Raise your name or raise your hand. Sorry, don't raise your name. Raise your hand if you care about Janice. How many people here are going to miss Janice? Who? Exactly. Now, if you want clean laundry, you're probably going to miss Janice. But apparently, that's it. Now, the bigger question is, do you guys think those earrings were real? No. I'm looking for stuff. I'm kind of messing around. But in summary, we started out, John wanted to be a cop. He was being a cop. We finally get a homicide. He gets to investigate it. There was an earring missing. There was a part of a gun missing. There was a page missing. So, I'm going to ask the group this question. How many people thought it was a really, really good CSI episode? Like, it challenged us and it was deep and we had time to think about it. Like, it was a really good murder mystery. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been to like a murder mystery dinner theater that kept me on edge more than this earring ordeal. And lo and behold, look at Strand show up just in the nick of time and do something that he thinks is going to help the group. And what happened to that anger? Like, John's walking through town. If you want to get out of this, how many people wanted to see John storm in there, not stop, kick open the door, shoot Jenny, walk out and say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town and his name's John Dory? Me. But we don't. So I can count. And look, maybe I'm just kind of voicing my frustration with John, but I can count at least 5 times over the last 2 years that I thought he was unnecessarily weak. See, I agree with that, movie star. I don't disagree. And I guess I'm just kind of coming to terms with it. It was a toothache. The toothache kept him down. All right, so here is my fear. Oh, it's not even a comparison to The Walking Dead at this point. It's just it's incongruent as hell. I'm not even comparing it to Walking Dead. I'm comparing it to Freddy Got Fingered because this is just the writing. I'm trying to understand it just from a strictly plot, story, entertainment value. But in fairness, we kind of have to compare it to Walking Dead because we have Morgan, we have Dwight, we have Sherry. 3 people went from Virginia to Texas. So if they didn't want us to compare it to The Walking Dead, then don't bring 3 people over. They didn't warp over. They got there. So, and I'm trying to help. I really am. I'm trying to help get this over the hurdle from a 6 to an 8 to a 9. And I don't think it's that difficult. But the masked people look pretty cool, right? So raise your hand real quick if you think the next week, I mean, they're riding along behind the SWAT thing and they got masks on and they look kind of like badass. But did you guys see Dwight? Like, Dwight's walking out. Where's Sherry? Sherry, Sherry, Sherry. Dude, you had one job. One job. You just found her. And you can't help keep her safe. One job, Dwight. No wonder she left in the first place. So we just got them back together, and now they're going to be torn apart again. Now, again, let me say this. I've been looking forward to these masked people since the teaser, since the trailer. If they do to these masked people next week what they did to the bounty hunter, I'm going to rant next Sunday night like I have never ranted before. Because then the show is going to start to look like those old Super Friends cartoons, where they had like a new cheesy villain every week that got killed by the Wonder Twins. Wonder Twin powers activate. Shape of an ice lance. Form of a tiger. And then they would kill the villain. Fear the Walking Dead is just starting to throw some people out at us every single week. You get the bounty hunter, he's dead. Got the 2 submarine guys, they're dead. You got the masked people, they're dead. I got to get to know them before I fear them. But that might be kind of a new cliche all in itself. To fear them might mean that you get written into a story and you got written off in the same episode. So if these guys are organized enough to go around in mask, then they need to last at least a couple episodes. And look, the verdict's not out on Jenny yet. I will say it's going to be tonight for me, and I don't know, over a couple beers, Will and Tammy might have a different perspective. I don't know if it's just kind of banter back and forth or if they really, really fear Jenny. I have a hard time fearing Jenny because, well, we just didn't get off on the right foot. E. Beach, I agree with Kills on the incongruent storylines, but there has to be a common theme. All roads lead to Rome. Eric, I want to know the answer to that question. And I want to build on that. I want to build on Eric's comment because, we talked about that a little bit in the beginning. Moonshot says she's getting scarier. All right. If I was a ranger in Lawton, and I don't know, let's say I had 10 o'clock guard duty, and I had to walk around the whole town of Lawton. And on the right side, in pitch dark, was Jenny, and on the left side was my shadow. Guess what I would be more afraid of? The left side by far. That's my feeling of Jenny right now. And honestly, come on, I mean, we can beat this to death. Seriously. Anybody here who's afraid of her at this point? I'm not just saying it just to say it. I'm asking because I sincerely want to know. Who fears this woman? She didn't kill anybody for a whole year. Negan didn't go a year without killing people. And I'm not asking to get you to fear her or to kind of incent you not to fear her. I just want to know. Because this is where I think the writers need to understand this feedback. Here, let me read, Tammy, let me read a lot of non-paragraphs that don't say that everybody's frightened of her. Not me. No way. No one is pathetic. I don't fear her. Kill her already. Her haircut is scary. The lady from World Beyond is scarier. Her face scares me. Bring in the boss. So, look. I would be one of the first people. If she was scary, I'd say she's terrible. Now, Is she drifting down that road? Is there some secret, unhidden, or hidden dark story? She likely is not even the person who carried out the first. She's like copycatting what somebody else did. And again, see, when I take a step back and I look at Lawton, I think this is the part that's missing. What is it that makes all these Rangers listen to Jenny? What is she doing? Where is her sphere of control? I mean, don't you think that something has to keep these Rangers in check? Manipulation? If anything, it screams out that there's somebody used the word underboss earlier. If anything, she is not the end all be all. She has some authority. Because, well, just because. I get it. Nav, I get that, but I don't think you're getting what I'm saying. I understand. I understand she's threatening people. I understand she manipulates. I understand she does these things. But what I'm saying is that you've got 10 Rangers. 10 Rangers, if they didn't like this lifestyle, could easily revolt against Jenny because Jenny is not intimidating. They could have a Ranger meeting and say, you know what? Yeah. She's only $1.15, man. I'm sure between 10 of us with guns, we could turn this place upside down. So you got one of two things here. Either these people are just inherently evil and they like to follow the path of evil, or there's a larger story that keeps it in place, that goes beyond Jenny. Like with Negan, it was Negan. If you cross Negan, he will fight you and choke you to death, like Simon. He will beat you to death with a bat. And the baddest of the bad partnered with Negan. So he had this persona and his charisma and these followers. The governor had a freaking tank. Jenny has some Rangers that don't even seem like they want to do the job. But yet, they do the job. When they could easily not do the job. Unless there's a wider web or a bigger authority or a bigger fail-safe that keeps them in line. That's my point. And I'm not saying they won't get to it. And maybe that's the big reveal. Maybe the big reveal is that there's somebody else. But here we go again. Then we get a mid-level villain that didn't turn out to do anything but kill a couple people. I mean, to date, she shot Logan, and somebody chained up Janice and put a boombox up there for Janice to be eaten. Now, let's compare. Because if we're on the subject of Jenny is pure evil, doesn't take a whole lot of effort to chain somebody up and leave them to die. Not like she was even there watching. She could have been sitting back having a toasted jam sandwich saying, hey, take Janice out early. John knows about it. Chain her up, play some music. I don't want to see it. Negan wanted to hit you in the head with a bat. Alpha would make you watch why she decapitated somebody. So I still think there's a lot more that we need to see, and I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not going to call it any names. All I know is I got a message tonight and said, hey, Kills, check this out. Jenny is really evil tonight. It's like, okay. Tonight we turn the corner. She's going to be really evil. But she did something that's already, she said, has been done. So to me, this is like the baby rung of evil. Maybe this is the tip of the iceberg, and then it gets crazier and darker and a whole lot more. Yeah, you know what? Jenny's responsible for that cavity John got. Now we're going to find out. Jenny killed the Tooth Fairy. I solved it. I solved the riddle. That's what makes her evil. But you know what? We might not even see Jenny for 3 or 4 more weeks. Because, I mean, we haven't even gotten to everybody yet. We still got to get to Grace. We still got to find out where Alicia went. I mean, we still got other stories. So, what if we go the next 3 weeks and we don't even get much Jenny? I mean, and I'm talking from a real perspective here. If tonight was the start, I think they need to build on it and build on it quickly. So, if you start with killing somebody and then, we see in episode 7, they're going to lose what little bit of momentum I think they have. All right, so we had a few more people show up. I'm going to ask you guys again. We've openly talked about it. I know tomorrow when the video posts, I'm going to get some hate comments. People hate any type of constructive criticism with a TV show that we all love. So let's do it again. 1 to 10, everybody. Let me get your scores. Let's see who loved it. Let's see who absolutely hated it. And let's see who thought it was just entertaining enough. So we got Dark Princess with 8. Jeremy staying with 6. Eric 7. Julia 5. Movie Star staying with 7. Saul 7. Amy going 6. Nav coming in at an 8. Hippo with a 6. Diana C 7.5. Crystal 7. Gemstone 7.5. Joe Bynum 7. Rebecca Mendez 7. Kel 6.5. Diana 6. Busy Bee 7. So look, they're not ones and twos. And as I said, I'm going to stay with a 6. Jeremy says 6, highest rated episode of the season. I mean, there's worse things out there. Crystal, 7.8. But you guys can kind of, not even in a comparison mode, just for strictly where we stand with it, a lot of 7s. The average score tonight was probably a 7. And so far for the season, I'd say that's, we're between 6 and 7. We're not going to be waking up early in the morning and phoning all our friends to talk about how great the episode was. Again, and we're 4 episodes in. Yeah, Movie Star, I won't say I hate it. I will say I'm slightly disappointed that they're not making a little bit more progress. And I just don't think the showrunners are very good. That's my opinion. My opinion is it starts at the top, and Ian and Andrew just don't know how to tell a good story. I think they try to be too cute. They love speeches. They love to tell us what the character is going to do, and then it plays out that way. It's almost like it's a magical poem to them. Let's have John tell this great story about his dad. You know what? By the end of the show, let's have that play out in front of us. And Gimple wasn't bad, but Angela Kang is exceptional. So, and look, I'm never making the argument. I'm not saying fire anybody. I don't want, but there's always a but there. The show is never going to be a 10 with these two people running the show. It's just not. They can't do it. They have proven for multiple seasons now that they can't. They can't entertain at that level. But here's the flip side. I guess we can look at it as if the glass is half full. It's never going to be a 2 or a 3. We're always going to get what we get. It's going to be a little bit of story, a lot of coincidence, a lot more love and relationship based, maybe, than a Fear of the Walking Dead you'd think it would be. But I don't think they're ever just going to, it's going to be horrible because it's Walking Dead universe. And they have good actors. I agree. Casey, I agree with that 100%. I think the actors are great, but I think several of them are out of character because we can't get a congruent story. Last week it was the bubonic plague. It was like a 60-minute episode of Donkey Kong where they got to get to the top of the building and save the princess, and they just threw in some bubonic plague along the way. And again, start to finish, we started with a story, we finished the story by the end of the episode, and we had a love fest. Tonight, we started a story with a murder, we finished the story, and we had a love fest. So the script from last week was almost the exact same script they used for this week, but they just shook it up a little bit. Now, to me, that's a 6. But as you guys said, the potential. So let me give you this. This is minor. All right, I'm only going to do this. I'm only going to do this if you guys want me to do it. I'm going to go alternate universe and give you my kill shot narration. I do it every week of what could have happened tonight. I'm standing up for this one. To take the show from a 6 to an 8.5 and started to make Jenny one of the most evil villains in the history of Walking Dead. Are you guys ready for this? This is the way I would have done it. Give me some 999s if you guys want to hear this. And then you can agree or disagree. Very simple. Why not? If you're already going to kill Janice and you want to make Jenny dark and evil and diabolical, why not just have her walk out there with a T-bone steak, with the boombox playing in the background, dancing like that creepy scene from Reservoir Dogs, and just kind of leading the walkers along little by little, step by step, singing the song. Whatever was playing, she could have been singing it. And then the walkers take a step and then lay it down right there on top of Janice's back, and then watch the walkers rip her apart. Now, if you want to be evil, then be evil. Do it the right way. Make it Fear the Walking Dead. And you know what we would have been? We'd have been like, holy hell, man. Jenny didn't hold back. That's some twisted stuff right there, what she just did. But we get John walking out there like a scene from Moonlighting, all by himself, nobody else out there, music playing. And look, and there was some gore there. But I thought they wasted the gore. If you're going to show her there with her guts hanging out, then show us how we got to that point just a little bit more. Or let Jenny personally be involved in it. I mean, she's calling the shots, so we know she has that. And I think because they don't do that, what made the governor good is, first of all, what we knew about the governor between what he did to Michonne and what Michonne did to him, and then cutting Herschel's throat. And then Negan, we had to watch him beat down two of our favorite characters. And Alpha made people watch her decapitate people. Jenny is munching on some strawberry jelly and sending people out to kill people for her. And I think if they add just that little element to it, then we could get there. Because one thing I know about the show is when we have villains we hate killing people we like, it gives us an additional emotional attachment. Would you agree with that? Let me ask that again. If we have villains we hate killing people we like, it riles us up. It gives us that emotional attachment. So, why can't we do it? So, movie star says Jenny's hiding something from everyone, including the audience. And see, here's the fear in that. And here's the problem with that. 6, 5, 7, 6, 5, 7, 10. Okay? So maybe we get this big reveal somewhere down the road, and it's like, oh, that was clever. She was hiding something. So we went through 2 months of scratching our head trying to figure out, like, what the hell are they doing? And then they do it. That's not the way you do it. You give breadcrumbs. You don't throw a bunch of different stories out there, and then a good story, you got to lead it along, or at least add something to it. Exactly. See, Amy, I agree with you. Amy's like, I don't care if she's hiding something. So if you keep lowering expectations, yeah, it's going to appeal to some people, because it's going to be like The Sixth Sense. Like, wow, it was great. But this is, in fairness, this is what we know. Okay? That key better be something ridiculously good. Rick Grimes better be locked in that submarine. Got to get that key. We got to free Rick Grimes. It needs to be something. Because right now, it might turn into another PPP card. Or they got to use World Beyond after credits in order to let us know the difference between an A or a B. So the story potentially is the key. Or it's not. That's the challenge. I like that. Dark Princess says, it's probably something or nothing. It's probably nothing. See, that right there, just totally. I think that's what confuses the audience. We've got PPP, we got A's and B's. Crystal doesn't like the anthology. Nav says, Gimple said there'd be several time jumps. So we got time. I mean, there's just a lot going on. And I do try to find, I'm thinking like, what's going on with Morgan and what's going on with this baby and how long has John been walking around being a ranger? How long was Daniel cutting hair? What happened to Skidmark? All right, I think next week we're on episode 5. We had a cool chase scene at the end that was intentional. First thing I'm thinking is like, there's no way 2 cars in the middle of nowhere in a zombie apocalypse could run into each other. That just can't happen. So, luckily we figured out these dudes had some intent. So now I think we got a little bit of a story, because now Morgan has to do what John was doing. Morgan needs to find out where these guys came from, who they're reporting to, what they need to key for. How many people feel like this is some nuclear-powered sub and the key is to get in there, turn this thing on, and blow up something? That they just want to radiate all these walkers. Yeah, because, look, I'm not extremely versed with nuclear subs, but if there's like a weapons system in there, I mean, you can fire like, I guess torpedoes have to be in the water, but don't they have like those water to air missiles that some submarines have? They can shoot up out of the water. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe this has some armed missiles on it, and they're looking for the key to get this thing started. Now, who they are, what they need it for, what they're fighting, all of those things, that's a different story. Yeah, more to come on that. I mean, I'm hoping the Masked Men next week play a big part of that we learn a little bit more from those guys. Well, it would, but I'm just confused of what Jenny's role is with the key. So, and it hurts my brain a little bit to try to figure it out because they really confuse me. So Jenny hired a bounty hunter. Okay. Well, let's do this. Hang on. I'm going to try to connect some of the dots here. The bounty hunter got a key, and bounty hunter's a badass, and was taking the key to these two dudes with a sub. But along the way, he got sidetracked to pull a job to kill Morgan. So he goes to kill Morgan. Now, Jenny doesn't want the key. Jenny wants Morgan dead. So Jenny doesn't appear to be involved in the whole key situation. This is why my head hurts. But Jenny says, well, I thought I needed you dead, but I just really need them to think you are. So she wanted to kill Morgan to use Morgan's death as leverage to keep more control over the people. But Morgan killed the bounty hunter and took his key and his truck and his dog. So these guys apparently thought Morgan was the bounty hunter. I'm assuming. But instead of pulling up behind who they thought was the bounty hunter and saying, hey, Mr. Bounty Hunter, slow down. We're just here to get our key from you. No. They slam into him, try to kill him, to take their own key, which didn't work. So then they find out, wait a minute, you're not him. Well, Morgan says, well, what about Jenny? And they're like, who's Jenny? So we know they don't know Jenny. Morgan killed the bounty hunter. Morgan has the key. Morgan now knows the key is important. So now Morgan, who wants to fight Jenny, probably gets sidetracked like the bounty hunter did. Because remember, it was take the key back to these people. Now Morgan needs to go get Jenny, but he can't get Jenny because now this key might be more important. So does Morgan go forward with Daniel to help free up everybody against Jenny, or does he go figure out what's going on with the submarine? Now that might be enough, but no. Now we got people with masks. Don't know what they're doing. And I don't know why they're after Dwight and why they're after Sherry. Unless Jenny works for CRM and these guys needed nuclear missiles aboard this submarine to take down CRM. And then we could have, maybe. Who knows? That's just kind of where I'm at with it. And in which case, Jenny might report to somebody, so she's a pawn, and then these other guys are trying to fight. And then why are they fighting? There just needs to be more to it that I just don't get at this point. All right, you know what? We're an hour into it, and I am more confused than ever. I'm going to stay with my 6. I'll think it over throughout the week, and then, maybe within the next week or two. I don't know at this point, even like a dose of adrenaline from these characters. Alicia just doesn't look like Alicia. John never turned a corner. June always had a toughness, but yeah, we're going to have to break this down. So you know what? We might do a let me give this some thought. I might set up a Thursday night bold predictions because the reactions kind of get me in the moment and kind of get my emotions of how I felt about the show and what was good, what was bad. We're going to give it a couple days and let's just sort of assess the timeline and the story. Maybe there's just some things that we're missing here, and we'll probably get together on Thursday night and do some bold predictions or sort of iron it out and see if we can figure out what might be next. But the key is certainly important. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks for your open, honest, engaged conversation, communication. We'll get there. We'll get there, and I'll see you all on Thursday night for a little bit extended Fear the Walking Dead chat and conversation. Have a good evening. Get out and vote. Play some PvP. And have a great week, everybody. Be nice to each other. Peace.